Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and get started, and stragglers come in, all is well. So for those of you who I haven't met, my name is Cara, and I am one of the SoE Hub Advisors. So if you're all engineering majors, you probably see your advisor somewhere around the room. So now that we've kind of gotten past the ad drop and you guys are getting into your spring semester classes, it's a good time to kind of reflect on what happened in the fall and think about what you can do to make this semester even better. And as advisors, we've heard all kinds of hot takes. So some people are really happy with their first semester, some people were really stressed. So no matter where you may fall on that spectrum, the goal is that you'll leave here today feeling a little more prepared with at least something tangible you can take away to make the spring semester the best one yet. So just to kind of do a quick rundown of the things we'll talk about today. So first is just talking a little bit about how GPA works, how you calculate it. This is a conversation we have a lot as advisors. And I know in a lot of parts of the country, I know in my high school for New York, we did everything on like a percentage scale out of 100. So when it came to this whole 4.0 thing, I had no idea how that works. So we're going to cover that. We're also going to talk about some academic planning tips. So there are some things that we can help with as advisors when it comes to strategizing your semester to be as successful as possible or doing some damage control if something's going downhill. Then we're also going to talk about different campus resources. So some are probably going to be obvious ones that you've heard a lot about, but we think that there are a lot of things that are kind of underutilized on campus and things you'll want to check out. And then last but not least, we'll end with something tangible so you don't have to just listen to me talk to help you get organized and ready. So just to start, let's talk some facts. So this, according to Magoosh, which is one of the most popular test prep sites online, the average GPA of an admitted RPI student in the class of 2022, so the people the year behind you, was a 3.87. So what that means is students who come to RPI are very much used to getting almost all A's in high school, maybe even all A's, with a rogue B. So pretty much any student we talk to in their first year thinks, I'm going to come here, it's going to be the same. Well, the reality people don't talk about is this was the average GPA for the class of 2023 for the fall semester. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that everyone suddenly doesn't know what they're doing, isn't ready to be a successful student. What that means is two things mainly. So one is that the transition from high school to college is hard. I'm sure you've all found that the expectations are different. It takes a lot more independence, and that's just hard to adjust to. So I will also say this is not where the average stays for any given class. Over time, it tends to rise up closer to the 2.93 range. So generally speaking, first semester is real rough. So if you're looking at your semester and you're kind of surprised with how it went, no matter what people say on campus, just know that you're not alone. And then the second thing too is college is truly a different game when it comes to GPA. So as you saw, coming out of high school, getting that 3.8, 3.9 for some really competitive schools, that was the game you had to play. But it's a whole new thing now. So if you were to talk to our Career Center, they would say that when you're applying for jobs, putting your GPA on your resume, employers are happy if they see a 3.0 or higher. That is a flat B average. If you really want to go for what they would consider truly outstanding, that's a 3.5, which would mean 50% A's, 50% B's. And that's not to say that students haven't gotten great opportunities in the 2 range. I can speak from experience because my husband's an electrical engineer who never broke a 3.0, and homeboy makes 150% of what I make now. So with all that being said, even if this is the average, I'm sure that this is kind of not where people's end goal is. So today we want to talk about some things that can kind of help you get from wherever you started to where you want to be. So in terms of just like the theory behind GPA, it's an equation. So basically your GPA is the sum of quality points divided by the number of credit hours you've taken. That gives you your GPA. So this is a rundown of how RPI assigns quality points to each letter grade. You'll find that courses with more credits have a bigger impact. So for example, let's say you took a 1 credit class and you got an A. That would be worth 4 quality points. If you took a 4 credit class and got an A, 4 times 4, that'd be 16 quality points. So basically, all those quality points get together, divided by the number of credits you took that semester, that would be your semester GPA. It averages out over time. So again, in practice, kind of what that means is early on, every grade hits like a truck. Your denominator is small, and every grade is part of a small pool. What that also means by extension is as you go along, every class is going to individually matter a little bit less. So something that looked real rough in semester 1, by the end of 8 semesters, it's going to be lost in a sea of other grades and other credits. So again, impact decreases over time. And then also, there are definitely some tools online if you want to project out your GPA. So I've done it by hand, it's annoying. So there's a link on the screen, but if you Google it, you'll find 1,000 GPA calculators. So you can always kind of say, okay, based on where I am now, what do I have to do to get my GPA to a 2.5? What do I have to do to get it to a 3? Whatever that target number is, you can kind of run through some simulations. So, just to show you, let's check one out. If it goes, yeah. All right, so I made a little fake timeline here using the GPA calculator on the last slide. So let's pretend this was your fall semester. You took 16 credits, you got a C minus, a D, a B minus, and a B plus. That would leave you with a 2.7, which is right about that average we talked about for the freshman class for the fall semester. So again, certainly not catastrophic, but again, most people, that's probably not their end goal. But this is proof of how quickly things can turn around, right? So then let's say this semester you're like, okay, dry run first semester done. I figured out some things to make this turn around. So then you end up with a slew of grades in the B range. So you have a B minus, a B, 2 B pluses. So we haven't even touched the A range yet. Like we haven't even gotten there. And from semester 1 to semester 2, the GPA has already jumped about 0.5. So that's a pretty substantial leap. Then let's say we go to the fall, and like after summer, we're feeling refreshed, we're ready to rock and roll, and we get a B plus, some A minuses, and an A. So that alone will make it jump another 0.3. So if you were to carry this projection out for the remaining 5 semesters in an average 4-year plan, if you got that 3.5, which is what we said is, again, that excellence, it doesn't even have to be the 4.0, you would graduate with a 3.3, which is A, more than fine for applying to jobs, and B, you still could get into a bunch of grad schools with that GPA. So no matter what happens along the way, just know that it is possible to recover. More credits, more time will get you to where you want to go. So with that being said, if we want to improve, what can we do? So this whole slide is just going to be a big commercial for Come to Your Hub Advisor, but to tell you some things we can do. First of all, you would want to meet with us to get perspective on what classes to take each semester. So obviously part of this is just to make sure you graduate on time, but also I can speak for all of us in saying we've had caseloads of literally hundreds of students. So we get a lot of feedback on what classes are the most time consuming, what are the hardest, what professors are great, all those sorts of things. So with that perspective, we can help you plan a semester that's not doomed to make you extra stressed. Obviously, some hard classes can be avoided, but do you want to put data structures, physics 2, and LITech all together? No. So another thing, too, is this would definitely be a talk to your Hub Advisor moment, but RPI has a very generous retake policy if you need to repeat a course. So if you repeat a class here, your new GPA in that class would replace the old one. So let's say I got an F in Calc 1 in my fall semester, and then I retook it in the spring and got an A. My cumulative RPI GPA when I graduate would look like I only ever got an A in that class. So again, this isn't always necessarily the answer we're going to go for. As you saw, it's more than possible to bring things up without retaking a class, but if you and your advisor decide that's something you want to do, it is a pretty helpful policy. Another thing is knowing the drop deadline. So again, this is something where RPI is kind of generous. The drop deadline is usually about 8 weeks into the semester. So for this semester, that's going to be March 6th. So if you drop a course by that date, it won't even be on your transcript. It'll look like you had never registered for the class in the first place. So the nice thing is, by being that far out, a lot of faculty will even strategize to have your second test before that date. So you'll really have a lot of your grades spoken for and kind of know where you stand. So again, talk to your advisor before you drop a class. Want to make sure you're still a full-time student and all of that. But when you're in a pickle, sometimes this could be a really good way to save yourself some stress and save your GPA. The last option we want to talk about is pass no credit. So this policy is something you can do up to 4 times in RPI, and you can use this specifically on free electives and within your Haas score. There are restrictions in Haas, so again, talk to your Hub Advisor depending. But even though it's kind of limited in what you can use it for, we can sometimes be strategic. So, for example, I advise electrical engineers, and a lot of times they take Comp Sci 1 their first semester, and by week 6 they're like, I don't want to be electrical anymore, I don't want to take this class. Cool, no worries. But if they're like, you know what, I want to learn the content, I just don't want to have to stress about my GPA, cool. If we change your major to a major where it's not required, like, I don't know what I was talking about, maybe mechanical, but then we can actually pass no credit it, even if it was a major required class in the beginning of the semester. So That deadline's way out behind the Leath, but it is April 10th this semester. So this you have a lot of time to decide. And just in how that works on your transcript, if you get a pass, you get a P, which you get the 4 credits or however many that pass may be, and it's GPA neutral. So your GPA doesn't go up, but it also doesn't go down. If you have any AP or transfer credits from high school, it's going to be a lot like that. If you fail, instead of getting an F, which is obviously no bueno for your GPA, you would get an NC, which stands for no credit. So obviously, if you don't pass, you don't get credit, but it also doesn't take your GPA down. So again, this can be a nice get out of jail free card that we can keep in our back pocket for a lot of the semester. So if any or all of these cases apply to you, again, talk to your Hub advisors. We literally sit here all day hoping you come visit. So moving on, even though we are great resources, we know that we can't do everything alone. So let's talk about some other resources on campus. So probably the most notable one that people talk about is tutoring services and office hours. So these are similar but slightly different. For office hours, you're going to see that on the syllabus for any one of your classes. Usually for the bigger classes, you'll have TA office hours. Pretty much all professors offer them. So this is a time to go in, get one-on-one help. There's definitely sometimes a benefit to getting help from the people grading and creating your assignments. But if you need additional help or if their office hours are not at a time that works for you, ALAC also runs drop-in tutoring. So if you were to Google RPI ALAC tutoring, you'd find the whole list of all the hours they offer, all the locations, all the classes, all those things. So most people know about that. And then the rest of these things on here, I think, are sometimes a little underutilized. So another service that ALAC provides is something called academic coaching. So a very common conversation we have as advisors with students is in terms of that high school to college transition, a lot of people did not really have to study all that much in high school. They were rocking it without a lot of that effort. So coming here, they find, okay, I want to study, but I don't even know where to start, or I'm studying, but I'm not getting the results. And that's the type of thing that an academic coach can help with. So they have a bunch of professional staff members, just like your Hub advisors, and they can help you with learning strategies, time management, organizational skills. So this could be like a one-time visit, just like, hey, I need some ideas to get started, or you can meet with them on a regular basis just to have that accountability. So if you want to make an appointment with them, they're in Academy Hall on the 4th floor, and Patty, the lady at the front desk, is an absolute gem, so she'll definitely help you get plugged in with someone. Then probably one of the least known, but most interesting and helpful things on campus is the Center for Global Communication and Design, or ComD. So this is in the basement of the library near where all the ALAC tutoring happens, if you've been there. And basically, they have now expanded their services that you can get both in person and online, one-on-one help with any communication project. And that is super broad. So that could be writing, that could be data visualization for a lab report, any sort of graphic design, and it doesn't even have to be related to your class. So if you're just trying to do like an entrepreneurial side hustle and want help making your website, they'll do that too. So again, these services are free, and they will both, again, in person and online, they make it about as accessible as possible. And then last but not least, something students don't always realize is if you had an IEP or potentially like a learning disability, something that needed accommodations in high school, you also can be accommodated on campus. So if that's something that might apply to you, then the email for that is dss@rpi.edu. You'll be put in touch with a woman named Jacqueline Iardella. She is wonderful. And so just know that if that was something you needed in high school, it very well could transfer here. All right. So, as I said, it wasn't just going to be me talking the whole time. So basically, in terms of this activity, this is going to basically be a rundown of what I did every semester to get started. So just for my background, in undergrad, I graduated with 3.92. I had a 4.0 for my last 2 years, and I had a 4.0 in grad school. Sometimes I had multiple jobs and internships alongside, and honestly, my secret to success was organizing. Taking control of your time, or it will take control of you. So, in terms of how we're going to do this, I would say if you have a laptop or paper copies, break out anything you have that have your syllabi, and we can get going. And if you want to spread out to tables so that's more comfortable, by all means.